Hello and welcome to our flexibility stretches for beginners. So the first thing I'd like you to do is go and grab some cushions, some blankets, and I'll meet you either on the mat or on the carpet or whatever space you have available. Okay, so the first thing that we normally do is come to a seated cross-legged position. Now already for some, this can be too much. So I'm just gonna give you some other ways of being able to come into this position. Grabbing a blanket or a cushion, it's really good to sit up on the edge of it so that your bum kind of dangles off the edge. Now what this is going to do is it's going to help to tilt the hips forward, and it gives you a little bit more space around the pelvis area to open the legs up to be able to sit cross-legged. Now you can bring this as high or as low as you would like. Just bring your hips up a little bit further if you need to. Another great way to do this is to place the pillows. You can see there I've just folded them over underneath the knees. It gives it a little bit of support so you can have it as high as you need to, and eventually you'll notice that you can start to lower it down. Another great way to do this kind of position, slightly different, is to put the heels in front of the pelvis. Now this does require a little bit more of a hip opening, but some people find this more accessible than sitting cross-legged. So again, you can take a seat like this. You can also sit your bum up on the edge of pillows or blankets to make it a little bit more accessible. And doing it this way brings your knees a little bit lower than the hips, so that can also help. So take your position and we will begin today's practice. Lengthen through the spine, whatever position you'd like. Let's inhale, sweep the hands up. And exhale, let's just bend it over to one side. So one hand comes down on the ground, one hand comes up and over. Try to keep both of your sit bones on the ground and just feel a side stretch all down the side of the body here. Take a slow inhale and exhale. Inhale the hands up. Let's bend it over to the other side. One hand comes down, one hand reaches up and over. And again, it doesn't matter how low down you get here. With time and practice, you will become more flexible. Inhale the hands back up. Okay, hands above your head. Let's exhale, twist to one side. One hand comes on the knee, one hand comes behind. Lengthen through the spine. And you can use your hand on your knee as a little bit of leverage to see if you can twist yourself a little bit more to the side. Now, don't yank yourself too much here. Go until you feel a slight sensation and then stop. Loosen the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe into it. Inhale the hands back up. Exhale, twist it over to the other side. So we've already done a little bit of hip opening with the crossed legs, side bending and twisting. They are great poses to start practicing to gain overall body flexibility. So let's come back to center. Move your props out the way if you had them. We're going to come all the way over onto all fours. Now, if you are on a hard floor, make sure you put something soft underneath your knees. You can put a blanket down. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Let's do a little bit of spinal flexibility here. Let's inhale, drop the belly down, look forward, your cow pose. Exhale, push the mat away around the back, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, stick the bum out, drop the belly, look forward. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, down. Exhale, reverse. One more time. Inhale, down. Exhale, reverse. Bring the hands out slightly further than the shoulders. Tuck the toes. We're going to come into downward facing dog. So lift the knees off the ground, push the belly backwards, hips lift high. Keep bending your knees for a moment. Really lengthen through the spine here. Really good for opening up the whole of the back of the body. And let's drop back down to our knees. Right foot's going to step up in between the hands. Come into your low lunge. So wiggle your right foot as forward as you can to your knees over your ankle. And tuck the back toes. Walk your hands back so that you can straighten your right leg. Toes then point up towards the ceiling. So this is called half splits pose. You can have a bend in the knee here, that's fine. Everyone's going to be at a different stage. So go to where you feel a slight sensation and then hold it there. Try to open up the chest. So we're not trying to round the back here. We're trying to look forward, bring the chest high up. You'll notice that you'll feel a bit more of a stretch if you open your chest than if you're rounding and looking down. So you should feel a nice stretch all down the back of the right thigh here. Slow inhales and exhales. And then we're going to slowly walk the fingers even further back. Your left lower leg is going to come to the side and you're going to sit your bum down onto the mat. So now your left leg has come out. Now, if this feels too much and you can't do this, grab your props again. Take a seat on them. Bring yourself up a little bit higher. It's going to make it a little bit easier. So we've done the back of the right hamstring. Now we're doing the left quad here. So take your variation. The higher up you are, the less of a stretch you're going to feel. If you can't get your bum back, that's fine. Walk your fingers back until you feel something in your left quad. If this feels okay, we're going to inhale, bring the hands up, only if your hands are off the mat. Exhale, fold forward over the right leg, sorry. So again, you might not go very far, and you might not go as far as you would if you had both legs out. Again, try to open up the chest and fold forward. Try not to round the back. Always think nose to toes rather than head to knee. Couple breaths here. Walk the hands back up. We're going to lean backwards onto our elbows. Watch the walls if you have any walls behind you. If this feels too much, stay sat up. Just trying to get a little bit of a deeper stretch through the left quad here. And then walk your hands back up. Okay, let's bring the left leg out in front of us. Just give your knees a bit of a bounce. And then swing your legs back around, come back to all fours. Other side. Left leg is going to come up. And again, you're going to wiggle that forward until you can come into your low lunge. Lengthen as much as you can through the spine. And you might need to kind of like move body parts and the inside of your leg. Do whatever you can to get your body into this position. And remember, you can always use books or yoga blocks to bring the floor closer to you here as well, if you have them available. And then start to walk your hands back, straighten the left leg. So same thing on the other side. Lengthen through the spine, open the chest. Maybe that knee stays bent. Come down until you feel a slight stretch and hold it and breathe into it. Slow inhales, slow exhales. And then slowly move your right lower leg a little bit further out so that when you walk your hands back, you can either come up, stay up high if that feels enough, put some props underneath your bum or place your bum onto the ground. So you've got a little bit of a stretch through the right quad. Now you might not be feeling anything here, and that is fine. That means hopefully you've got quite a bit of quad flexibility here. But But for a lot of people, this is going to feel really tight. So just listen to your body, go to where you feel like you need to go. If you're down on the ground, inhale your hands up and exhale, fold forward. And if you are on the ground here, or even if you're not on the ground actually, just take notice if one side feels a lot tighter than the other. So it's a great thing to notice. One thing that can really make a difference in your flexibility is little things that you do during the day. So if you sit cross-legged on a chair, notice if you always put the same leg on the top. If you do, switch it up and put the other leg on top. If you're stood, I don't know, at the school gates waiting for your child, do you always put most of your weight onto one leg? Try to switch it to the other leg. Little things like that is over time, you know, if you're doing these things like 5 times a day, they are really going to affect your flexibility in your body. Coming back up, if you're folded forward, bring your elbows back or just stay up high, depending on what your body's feeling. Bring your hands back up. Bring your right leg out. Just bounce your knees up and down. Bring your feet to a little bit wider than hips distance. Loosen the kneecaps, so make sure that you're not digging your knees down into the ground. You'll know if you're doing that because your heels will come up off the floor. Make sure your heels stay on the ground. Inhale, bring your hands up, and exhale, fold forward. Remember, you can always grab your cushions or props here underneath your bum just to tilt the pelvis forward, and that might help you get a tiny bit further. But try to open the chest so you can grab the mat, your legs, your feet, wherever you get to. Loosen the kneecaps. So easy to tighten them up once we folded forward. And pull yourself down, whether it's on your legs or it's on the mat. Pull yourself until you do feel something. Don't pull it too much so that there's pain, but a little bit of discomfort is fine. A little bit of discomfort is the muscles lengthening. And then release that, walk your hands back up. We're gonna bend the knees, shuffle down your mat if you've ended up more towards the top like me. Grab your props, put them to the side because we are going to use those in a second. Slowly roll down onto your backs. Hug your knees in. Just take a few circles with your knees here, kind of massaging the low spine. And circle your knees the other way. Plant your feet flat on the ground, quite close towards your bum. Now, the next position that we're going to get into, I don't want you to turn your head when you're in it. So if you need to see what I'm doing, lower down and then look at the camera. We're going to lift the hips up, move your props underneath your bum. Now, depending on how much flexibility you want here, you might need more or less pillows. Try to get them at the top of your bum and your low spine. Palms face up, relax your upper body. Now you can either stay here in this supported bridge, you can also use yoga blocks for this, or lengthen out the legs. Keep your toes or your heels on the ground, lengthen out your legs. So again, we're just opening the front of the body. So you've done a bit of forward folding, now just opening out the front. Let the feet flop open and completely relax here. Maybe even close down the eyes. Slow inhales and exhales. Relax the front of the body as much as you can. If it feels too much, bring your feet back to the mat and bend your knees. Every movement that we've done today is really going to help open up the body. So if you would like to see some more flexibility progress. Keep repeating this video daily. And I would love to see your results. So feel free to find me on Instagram or on Facebook and give me a message and let me know how you get on. We're going to bend up the knees if you haven't already. Slowly lift up the hips. Move the props out the way. Roll over onto one side. Just take a pause here. Slowly push yourself up to seated. Come back to a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. Maybe that's sat up on your pillows. Let's inhale, sweep the hands up above the head, hands come together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.